Here with Jets GM Joe Douglas at the NFL League meetings in Arizona, in beautiful Arizona. How would you characterize your search for that veteran quarterback and your conversation so far with the Green Bay Packers?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's exciting time, exciting to have good players that want to be Jets. So that's a great thing and a real tribute to Coach Sala and his staff and the Johnson family for their support. So that's a good thing in terms of where we are. I feel like there's been productive conversations, but we're not where we need to be. But still confidence that this process is gonna play out in a positive way.
Do you have any timetable internally in place?
No timetable. We feel good about our process where we are, and we're just going to let that play out.
Joe, it was said during the AFC coaches breakfast today that Lamar Jackson tweeted that he wants to be traded from the Ravens. Would you ever pivot in this situation in terms of starting to negotiate maybe with Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Lamar's a fantastic player, a former MVP, and has played some of the highest highs of professional football. But I think where we are, it would be operating in bad faith to really go down that path with Lamar in his representation, and so we're on our path. We have our plan, and we're going to let it play out.
Can you talk about how far you guys have come, you and Robert, in this team, in this organization, in the last couple of years, to where now you guys are being talked about as one of the top destinations in the league?
Well, look, I'd say it's probably similar to where we are with Green Bay. We're not exactly where we need to be. The end of the season put a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and it's going to lead to a lot of motivation moving forward. But with the staff he's put in place, with his energy, his leadership, I feel like the organization is in a good place, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of hungry players coming back and ready to prove that how we finished is not going to be how we start next year.
Can you talk about some of the changes in the wide receiver room? You guys signed Alan Lazard in free agency, and then McCole Hardman Jr., of course, and then you make the deal with the Cleveland Browns, acquiring a second-round pick that sends Elijah Moore to Cleveland and a third-round pick.
Yeah, I think us bringing in Alan Lazard, just a big body, physical presence, great athlete, tremendous person, character, teammate. Excellent catch radius, can make the tough contested catches, can really be a physical presence in that wide receiver room, and also adds a big play element. And then when you speak about big play elements, you got to talk about McCole. He's a dynamic playmaker, explosive playmaker, get the ball in his hands and good things happen in a variety of different ways, and a guy that can run by defenses. And so, added some dynamic playmakers to this wide receiver core. And in terms of Elijah trade, that was a tough decision to let a good young player to trade a good young player, but ultimately felt this was the right move for our team. Gave us the value we needed, and then a good opportunity for Elijah as well in Cleveland.
Can you talk about the team's potential interest in Odell Beckham?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some initial conversations with his agent Zeke Sandu. Obviously, Odell's a dynamic weapon as well, and brings a lot to the wide receiver room. So we'll see how that plays out.
How about the offensive line? You addressed depth here. What can you say about Wes Schweitzer? 34 games with the Commanders, 24 starts, and then you bring Tristan Colon up from Baltimore.
Yeah, Wes and Tristan, one of the things that a couple of things that they're going to add. They play with the mentality, toughness, grit that you're looking for from that position. And when you talk about their tenacity as players, their versatility as players that can align at guard or center, that adds value to the O-line.
I want to ask you quickly about the defensive side of the ball. How key was it for you getting that deal done with Quincy Williams, keeping him off the market? And how about acquiring a veteran safety like Chuck Clark?
Yeah, I mean, bringing Quincy back is just outstanding, because to see his growth in our linebacker room over the last 2 years, and we talk about explosive, dynamic offensive weapons. I think we know what kind of explosive and dynamic defensive player that Quincy is with his hits, and it can change the momentum of games with the way that he strikes people. So bringing him back, and a great teammate and great leader that he is. And then adding Chuck Clark, who's another Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate for Baltimore, and we know what kind of person and leader he is, and what he's going to add to the culture of our locker room. and another guy that just adds the physical nature that we're looking for on defense.
Joe, appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.